really say anything.
Give the people the pre-show. Oh, Longhorns high school record for most sacks allowed in a single. Oh, that was from 2019. 2021. Oh, well, this is NFL. I'll tell you, it's so easy to find NFL stats.
I'm multitasking here. So far behind on emails. Just
Don't you have an assistant that does that? A lackey?
Yeah. Just got too many email accounts. So JT got more email accounts than me, though.
Nuh-uh. Maybe.
I don't know where to email you.
JT's kind of a big deal.
Gmail. Seen some other ones too.
Hey JT, how's coaching going for you, brother? That new position.
Not bad. We've only had one scrimmage so far. Although I thought we did very well for not having any film, kind of just having to call it as I saw it, and very very few things were actually installed. But our first game is next Friday. So that'll be the first time I'll have to game plan and put together a real play sheet and all that kind of stuff.
What positives did you take away from that scrimmage?
We can tackle. I was unconvinced before then that we were actually able to tackle.
Hey, that's a good positive.
Craig said he got his coin today, so thank you.
Yes, he sent me the picture. He is a very excited man, and I would be too.
Sweet.
There was also a freshman that we put in there that proved that he's at least not afraid to hit, which was very refreshing. He might have to play a bit.
Now, hey, Alabama's kind of got the same thing with their incoming freshman, man. Turning heads right now. Some of the old guys better get together.
So I think I found it. Texas gave up 20 sacks or 24 sacks. I don't know how to read this stat. It just says sacks dash yards lost, and then it says Texas and opponents. So somewhere between 20 and 24 sacks.
Again, I guess I can't say much considering we gave up 43 last year. That will not happen this year. Eric Wolford is making things change dramatically. Doug Marrone, I didn't know how you held a job.
Yeah, apparently he kind of just checked out midway through the season.
He checked out in fall practice. I mean, obviously. They went for Joe Pendry. We could have put anything resembling an offensive line together late in the season. Man, 75 years old, came out of the retirement home to coach us up.
We have a wild Ryan Fowler. Now I can't actually see him. He's got a blank screen, but
that's what's up.
He's here.
We do wild here.
Let me get the touch portal going so I can at least be somewhat competent in what I do here.
I see ya. Okay.
Act like we're somewhat professional on this show.
Professional? We're not that on the Bama standard. Why should we be that here?
Oh, there he is. All right, so let's see. We got a 4-man box. There he is.
Hey, are we live yet? Are we close?
We are live. We are technically live. We haven't actually started the show yet.
The pre-show show.
Oh, okay. This is the pre-show. Okay. Because I can run inside. I literally just pulled up just like about 30 seconds ago. So we are good to be able to talk with you guys for a couple of minutes here. But as long as you guys can see me okay.
I'm excited to be talking with you, man. It's my first time meeting you. Long time fan, so it's going to be fun.
I think we're lagging a bit on YouTube right now, though. Why?
Oh, you got it going or you don't?
I got it going, but we're like streaming at 940 kilobits per second, which is...
Is that like a gigawatt? Like
that's
that
number should be close to 5,000, and considering it's at 900, that's not great.
Did you pay your minutes? Are you streaming off of Boost Mobile?
Yeah, I got the Cricket network over here.
That's it. Brought to you by Cricket Wireless.
Hey, they're digging up all the lines by my house. So they got the ditch witch down in there. I guess they're putting fiber in. I don't know, but they're messing up a whole bunch of people's yards right now, and they're on mine.
Why don't they use the other ones where they don't have to dig? I forget what it's called. They actually stick the thing in the ground and bore underground. Man, just pay the extra money. You live in some, y'all got some nice houses out there.
Look,
Don't
man,
be-
I don't pay for it. They just showed
like, I'm
up. They
just a
blocked the
high school coach.
driveway
I can't-
yesterday.
high school coach, whatever. He's a software engineer. That's what he is.
Well,
Anyway,
that's
come on,
true.
man.
I mean, he's
All right.
I mean, he's throwing around that computer technology stuff. 900. I'm going. Well, I'm just lucky if my modem works. I don't even know what the
Same
number
here.
is.
I'm
Yeah,
looking at
I
that.
mean,
I'm looking at that computer behind him. I don't know what kind of software engineer he is, but that thing looked like a Commodore 64.
Oh my God!
From back in the day, got a floppy. That thing got a floppy.
That thing has more power in one chip than the Commodore 64 ever had.
hey, that looks like an Atari 5600 back
All right,
there.
y'all gonna stop ripping on my computers. We're going to the intro.
Well. Here we go. Teague's Take at 8, baby. Here we go. Thank you guys for joining in and listening to another show. Man, I'm so excited about this episode for a lot of reasons. Main one is we get to talk a whole lot of Alabama stuff. So I don't know how many times we're going to say roll tide. Maybe we need to take a bet on how many times I get that in an hour. But, we got two really great gentlemen that's going to give a lot of good information on this upcoming Alabama season, man. I'm itching. I got a chance to get into Alabama this week, so I could share a little bit about that. But just want to make sure if you're listening to this on the recorded podcast, please make sure you find
which might be late. I haven't been doing a good job. I'm sorry.
What?
I said, which might be late because I haven't been doing a good job, but I'm sorry.
It's okay. If you're listening, though, go ahead and go to the Teague's Take YouTube page and subscribe to our channel so you can get the updates and when the next shows are. We're typically going on Wednesdays, but every now and again we're going to have some special episodes because I can tell you one that I got, and I bet Ryan Fowler is one I want to talk about this, but I'm trying to figure out why Darren Woodson hadn't got into the Hall of Fame yet. We're not talking about that tonight, but that's what I want to be able to talk about sooner or later. So go ahead and make sure you get to our YouTube page, hit the bell, subscribe, give us the likes, give us comments on social media pages. You can see it at Teague Football on Twitter and Instagram, personally, or at Teague's Take on Twitter and IG as well. I before I bring in our guests and let you see them, I want to be able to talk about this week a little bit because it always makes me think about things. So I had the opportunity to go into Huntsville this past week, or this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Just flew back in today, and I got to speak to the Red Elephant Club there. We talked about a lot of different things we've been talking about on Teague's Take for a while. What is NIL? What is going on? How does Alabama compete and do this? Those kind of things. But, that's not even really what I wanted to go with that. It was really about fan bases and how people react, how fans react with their respective teams. Last year, I believe it was last year when there was all kind of, or it could have been 2 years ago when the Tennessee fans went crazy and started throwing bottles, dang near killing people, at a game. Here in Texas, we just had a dad die at a youth football game because another person shot this guy on the field. These are like 12-year-old boys out there playing football. And it bothers me that, we're losing the sense of football in a whole lot of ways. Okay, one thing we're talking about, are they getting too much money, or was the NIL deal and all this kind of stuff. But, man, when you're out here and we got people that are really trying to hurt people, literally killing people at youth football games over a bad referee call, man, I think we all got to take a big check in ourselves and be able to say, man, am I getting obnoxious? Are you that one that's sitting there screaming at the top of your lungs at the game at a ref when they can't even hear you and you're upset and your wife or whoever is telling you to chill out? Are you the person at that high school football game or the college game where everybody is calling the police on you because you're being obnoxious? Or, I see them at high school games, even here, where dads are just going berserk over things they can't even control. I'm thankful that I'm around a lot of people who aren't like that. When I sat in this crowd at the Red Elephant Club, man, they were cordial. We were serious. Yeah, and we weren't in the heat of a game or an official, but the thing that we always talk about is about class and how you actually do that at games. So I'm encouraging you as we get ready to go into this football season, man, have some class about yourself, even as a fan. These guys are playing their hearts out. The officials, regardless of how good or bad they may be, most of the time, I don't think they're doing things intentionally. And if you can't change the outcome, don't sweat it as much. We'll talk about it post game and say it was a bad call, but don't be going crazy over this stuff. And definitely don't take no firearms to no games. It's ridiculous. Okay. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, the old sad story with Cleve. To lead boys. So we got a lot of Alabama football, though. I need to bring in my co-host, James Teague. We got two additional guests, Ryan Fowler of 100.9 in Tuscaloosa, Justin Raleigh of the Bama Standard. Man, they do great things. They do great work. They know and love a lot of Alabama. I don't know if Justin Raleigh is a Cowboy fan. I know Ryan Fowler is.
Actually, I'm a Ravens fan. I did become a Cowboys fan last year when you told me to denounce them. No, it was 2 years ago. You said in order for you to come on my first show ever and get an interview with you after me pursuing you for about a year or so, you said I had to publicly denounce my team and declare myself a Cowboys fan. So I don't know if that's still in effect, but hey, why not, man?
I do remember that. Thank you for sharing that. But all you got to do is worry about is your quarterback get his deal or not. It's about time for them to do that. But listen, we got these two great gentlemen in here. Man, there's just so much that we want to talk about with this. While I'm down there and I'm looking at these rosters, I'm really excited about this season, fellas. I am really, really excited about it. So I want to dive into that real quick and early if we can. I know we got to talk about my grandkids, JT's coaching gig. We got to figure out where Ryan Fowler is, if he's sitting out at the bar right now or whatever it is. I know you can't say, I don't know what he's doing, if he's sitting out on the patio with a cold brew.
Nah, that looks like a seatbelt over his shoulder.
Yeah, it is. It is. This is called camp mode today. I was rushing. I was trying to get back home. I was running to try to get back here. So just pulled in and I told my wife, I said, don't let the dogs out. I'm going to be in the car doing a little interview. So that's where I've always got to watch out for is the dogs. It's not the babies. It's not the kids. I've got two loud, obnoxious dogs. And
well, I appreciate it. I just thought you were like real country and had one of those race car seats.
I am country. No, I am country.
Yeah, you can't hear it?
Yeah.
It's the one that they even let him on the radio.
Yeah. I'm so country. I live back up in North Alabama. And I always describe it this way, and you guys will get a good laugh out of this. We're so far back in the country, we don't get Saturday Night Live until Tuesday.
Oh my God! you live out there by the what do they call it? The Tri-Cities?
Well, actually, where George was at Huntsville, I'm about 45 minutes south. A little place called Boaz.
Oh Lord,
is where I'm from. So,
pardon me while I Google that.
Well, okay, and if you look where Martin Houston's from, we're probably about 25 minutes away, and so we play in the same area, same region. So
I'm familiar. I used to date a girl from Boaz, so yeah.
Okay, so
so I just looked it up on the map, right, and I tried to zoom out just a little bit, just to kind of get the context.
Yeah,
and
it's out there.
Now, so there's a red like pin on on Google Maps, and I have to explain this very well so that the non-visual people understand what's happening. So I've zoomed out so I can see Huntsville and Fort Payne and Birmingham, but where the red pin is, there is a big thing that says Walmart Supercenter. It doesn't say Boaz.
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah.
Found it.
I have to zoom in. I can zoom in, and it says Albertville. I see Gadsden, but I got to go in a few more times before I actually see Boaz.
All right. Here we go. This is Know Your Bama trivia.
All right.
Give me a Hall of Famer that's from Albertville, Alabama. One of the greatest offensive linemen that ever played here, and then also probably played in the NFL.
John Hanna.
Knew it. John Hanna, Albertville, Alabama. That's it. Legendary John Hanna. Hawk Hanna is right there from Albertville. So historic significance there.
What's the name of the high school? What's the name of it? There's only one high school, right?
Yeah. It's Albertville High School is where he went to school at. I went to a place called Susan Moore.
Huh?
Huh?
That's a
Yeah.
Is that a daycare or what is that?
Alternative school.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just I think we're the only school in the state of Alabama that's named after a female. I think so. Susan Moore. I kid you not. Now listen, when you show up on Friday night and you got the word Susan Moore written across your chest, you know
What's the mascot? What's
the
mascot?
Bulldogs. The Bulldogs. So
Susan
purple
Moore
and gold.
Bulldog.
Susan
Okay.
Moore Bulldogs.
So you got to give us the context. Now that we've gone down this rabbit hole, who is she? What does she do? There's got to be some kind of historical.
She had a lot of money. And,
There you go.
She
That wins
gave
the
the
day.
land. She gave the land to the area, and
There's a whole
but there's
city
some-
named after her too.
yeah, it is. Yeah, whole city. Yeah, so it's she's pretty wealthy, and so. But I grew up in the era, Georgia. I'm trying to think. Did you play with Lamont Russell? Lamont would have been a little bit after or before you. So Lamont,
I played with him 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 or 2 years. 1 year.
Okay, well, yeah, Lamont would have been from that area. So he's from about 5 or 6 miles from where I'm from. So we got some players up there. He went to Aniana, which is another kind of tricky name, but Aniana. So he was. Don't hold this against him as us Cowboys guys, but he was a Aniana Redskin.
That was the beginning of rap music or something. Aniana. That sounded like I heard that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. But and Lamont was a great player too, and he was a running back, and he was a running back, quarterback. I mean, he did it all. I mean, 3A football, you kind of. You're asked to do a little bit more, and he's probably the best player to ever come out of our county.
So how about since y'all talking about that, the tight ends, what do we think about this? What's going on with our tight end situation? Is how do you say the backup's tight end's last name?
The freshman Amar.
Yes.
Robbie Oots.
Robbie Oots. Is he?
He's more of a halfback, really, rather than a tight end. But yeah.
So is he getting a whole lot of looks now? Is he, going to be a big piece of this offense just because of the injuries? Or what do you guys think about him? I'll start with you, Justin. What do you think about him?
He actually has been getting a lot of looks here in practice and fall camp rather, but also Amari Black has been getting a lot of reps, and from what I've been told, he's been showing out. So he's making a great adjustment. And then the kid who just transferred in from junior college, his name just escapes me right now, but I've been told.
Kitzelman?
Yes, Kitzelman. He's been doing well as well. So these two newbies are giving some hope, some promise. So if we have any issues, I think we'll be in good hands.
Well, Ryan, do you think?
He's probably more of a blocking tight end. The guys that we're talking about, Robbie Oots and the young man out of junior college is probably going to be that. And the name escapes me too. What'd you say, Miles? Is that what you said?
Miles Kitzelman.
Kitzelman. Okay, yeah. So, and they discovered him by recruiting another junior college. So they went to this junior college and was scouting another player. And just because, they kind of put out that help wanted shingle to say, hey, we're looking for a tight end. We're looking for a tight end, and really never found one in the transfer portal. So they were kind of exploring that when you lose Billingsley to Texas. But I'm also hearing the Cameron Latou is probably going to be back at some point next week. So just kind of keep an eye on that. That's a little bit of an injury, and Alabama's kind of got this injury bug that they need to find a way to shake. But tight end is a level of concern. I think in the spring, what was it, 2 or 3 scholarship tight ends is all they had. So that's a little bit of a problem. And Amari Neblak is a guy that can kind of add to that. So I'm kind of confirming what Justin has heard there. And it seems like he's getting a lot of looks. He's going to get a chance. So and he's a freak. If you look at the eye test, he's already passing that.
OJ Howard 2.0.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, I like that. I like that comparison.
JT, you think that's a problem for Bryce Young this year, though? Does he need that safety blanket in the tight end position, or should I not even be worried about it anyway? Because tight end position, then I need to focus on the wide receivers and the running backs.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's probably a bigger deal to Bill O'Brien than it is to Bryce. I think if Bryce has an outlet and a running back, he's fine. Maybe we see him run a little bit more because we know that he can. So I think taking the security blanket away, I don't think this is not the Cowboys offense. Our offense does not run through the tight end.
Yeah.
Regardless of offense.
No David Schultz.
Hey, watch your mouth there, Justin.
Right. All he has is a quarterback that runs the ball with the Ravens. So whatever, he can't throw. So.
Hey, listen, if you really want to know my opinion about Lamar Jackson, it's unpopular, but I'll say it if you ever want to talk about the Ravens on an episode.
Well, say it now. You teased it, so say it.
I think that he's a phenomenal athlete as far as a quarterback goes. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think that when things tend to get rough, he panics. He's not a guy who's going to bring you back. If things are going his way, he can do a lot of great things. But as a quarterback, he relies too heavily on his running ability. If his first read isn't there, he's gone.
Well,
doesn't
he
really
did win an MVP,
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm looking at the total game. The total game.
Okay. I didn't know, Ryan, I didn't know you could win an MVP if you weren't like solid. I don't know. Maybe it's just me overthinking.
I'm not saying he's bad.
Well, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, Matt Ryan also won an MVP.
Yeah.
Well, Julio Jones handed Matt Ryan. But you remember
when we looked at those stats, though? He still was throwing for like 4,000
That's true.
yards.
That's true.
He had a lot of touchdowns, but he had a lot of the statistical data. Anyway, so let's get back to Bryce then. Ryan, can he do a repeat? Is he in the Heisman category or not? Are we pumping him up to be this guy again or not?
Let me go to a couple of different things with Bryce. He sounds like a 10-year NFL veteran, and why I say that is he doesn't say anything, which is perfect. I mean, that's what you want a quarterback. I mean, you want him to come in and the way that he handles himself. I mean, you can ask him a question. I think I interviewed him for 5.5 minutes. I think I got 3 questions in. I may have got 4. One of the things was a double down because he told me last year was a failure. I mean, SEC Media Day, sitting down with him, and he said, last year was a failure. And I said, please elaborate on that. I mean, what do you mean? And he said, well, in Tuscaloosa, it's not about individual awards. It's about a team award. And, I'm so impressed with him as a player, as a person. I hear great things about him in the community. And, listen, with one of those guys that kind of was that first 7-figure NIL guy, and he's probably even made more than that when you look at, surpassing that number. To be able to handle that and the pressure of being the Alabama quarterback is great. But I don't know if he's going to put up the numbers. And I think as Heisman voters, I'm a voter. In your head.
Wait, hold on. Can we? How does one become a voter?
Well, I was at a bowl practice, and the guy that is a chair came up to me that he's for this region, and so they have different like regions. So like you'll have like Alabama, maybe it's Georgia, or maybe it's Alabama, Florida. This particular individual kind of governs the state, and so as people float off of the vote, let's say they retire, I mean, we'll give you an example like, like a Cecil Hurt last year passed away, right? So there'll be a vote that will come up that somebody will take Cecil's spot, right? So as people float off, or they retire, or they pass away, or get out of the business, then the vote kind of goes back to the committee, and the committee kind of distributes it there. So I've been a voter for probably 7 years, something like that. And so I think as the numbers, when you look at Bryce, I don't know if he's going to put up the numbers. I mean, he was 128 shy of 5,000, 47 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I don't know if he's going to hit those numbers. I think he's going to have a very productive year, but you've got to go back, and I know this is wishful thinking. I love when Alabama plays a little physical. I'm not saying Nick Saban's going to go back to, everything in a phone booth, but this offensive line has had a really good camp, and I think that may be the biggest takeaway so far. This offensive line's finally coming together, and I think you're going to see, Coach Wolford take that offensive line, and they're going to have a physical kind of mean streak. And if you go back to Nick Saban's first comments as we started fall camp, I believe it was August the 4th, 2 Thursdays ago, and he made the comment talking about play action pass. So just based on everything that we're hearing, the strength of this team is probably not going to be wide receivers. They're going to have Jermaine Burton, but they're still looking for some wide receivers, guys. That may be your biggest problem in camp, is the youth at wide receiver. I don't think that Coach Saban is too pleased with the consistency there at the wide receiver spot. So there's going to be some guys that, Jermaine Burton's going to be fine. You can check that box, but you're still looking for who's 2, who's 3, who's 4. You probably need 6 wide receivers. There's some guys who with tremendous amount of talent, but combine that to what your question about Bryce, it'll take a lot. It'll take him to have to match those numbers. I don't know if he's going to be able to match those numbers.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you, there's a couple of things that you said in here that JT did. First of all, he made my hair stand up on the back of my neck when he started talking about the offensive line being good, being something that needs to be reckoned with. I think we've been talking about that the past couple of years. So that is promising to me, and that makes me feel a whole lot better. I appreciate that. And then the other part is, every time you were saying voter, VOTER, for whatever reason, I thought you were saying boater. I just got this country BOAT.
I went out. I mean,
on his bass boat, huh?
Hey, I told you I was country. I mean,
you hear that? Hi.
I just had this visual of you out on
Gomer
your
says hi.
pontoon boat out there or whatever. But anyway,
no, I'm a flat bottom John boat type guy. It's a little cheaper on the side of that. So, but it's kind of fun to look ahead, and I tell you, Will Anderson, with that motivation, he may be the guy that gets that Heisman recognition.
Don't go there yet. Let's not. I want to stay away from the defense for a minute. We'll get back to Will, and you can bring that up. But I kind of want to. So Justin and JT, we'll go with Justin first. So what do you guys think about that? Because he kind of hit on a lot of different things on the strengths and weaknesses. What really is offensive line the strength this year? And does that mean we're going to be running the ball, or it just means you're going to have more time to pass the ball? What are you saying, Justin, as the true strength to our offensive side of the ball this year?
Well, like Ryan said, there's so many question marks at wide receiver right now. You really can't label that as a strength. Yeah, do we have talent? Absolutely. Jermaine Burton. I'm a big advocate of Ja'Cory Brooks. I think this kid, in my mind, he's already got it locked down. He gets it. He's one of those guys that understands the assignment. If you look at last year, in the biggest games or the biggest moments, the kid came to play. Texas A&M, we're reeling. We're looking for something. Blocks the punt, picks it up, returns it for a touchdown. And then the biggest moment of all is going to probably get him a statue erected. The moment against Auburn where he tied it up. I mean, that one play, he probably can run for mayor in Tuscaloosa right now and win the race hands down. Did very well against Cincinnati. So he understands what it means to play in the big moments. Super kid, can run the routes, great big frame, great hands. But yeah, outside of that, you're sitting there thinking, okay, who's it going to be? Me personally, I thought this was going to be JoJo Earle's a comeback year. He gets hurt. He's sidelined for 8 to 9 weeks. A lot of talk since spring has been Louisville transfer Tyler Harrell. All I hear about him is how fast he is. But what about his intangibles? How are his routes? How are his hands? Is he adjusting to the culture? I heard aside from the minor bumps and bruises, he's having a hard time kind of getting used to the Bama way of doing things. You got to remember the Louisville culture is a whole lot different than, say, in Ohio State or in Alabama. So that's a question mark to me. And yeah, he's fast, and yeah, he averaged 20 or 30 yards a catch at Louisville last year, but how many catches did he have? He had 500 yards tops. And yeah, I get their offense wasn't really built to throw it around, but still, I want to see more stat wise. We are still waiting for Trayshawn Holden to do something. Hadn't done anything just yet. Waiting. Christian Leary is the other guy to look for. What I'm hearing, he's really been showing out. Of course, we got a visual picture in the spring when he burned Malachi Moore with that bomb. And the way I'm looking at it and what I'm being told, if the vets can't do it, look for newcomers Kendrick Law and Aaron Anderson. Yeah, they're green, but they seem to understand the assignment right now. And if the old guys can't do it, these two guys might be the next receivers to step up. But to go back to your question, the offensive success will start and stop with the offensive line. I love what I'm hearing. Eric Wolford is an offensive line whisperer. Joe Moore, award finalist. Blue collar guy. He wants to instill that fire, and it sounds like we're doing it. I've been told that Darian Dalcourt's been getting first team reps over Seth McLaughlin. To me, that's a mistake. Not really sold on Dalcourt. To me, he isn't it. He was too inconsistent last year, got worked at times, and looked lost. McLaughlin brought stability since the first snap. When he got on the field, he owned his position. He dominated people in front of him, especially Georgia. He handled Jordan Davis, guys. That says a lot to me. He reminds fans a lot of Landon Dickerson. Is he Landon Dickerson's size? No, but he's got that mean streak that Landon Dickerson has. And what I heard recently, Tyler Steen transferred from Vandy, J.C. Latham. They seem to be solidifying things right now. So things seem to be looking up on the offensive line. And if the offensive line is hitting right, it's going to allow Bill O'Brien to open up that playbook and do a whole lot more than what we've got last year. And yeah, there were a lot of questionable calls from Bill O'Brien last year. I think that we all kind of maybe harshly criticized him. I think that he was handcuffed to an extent just because he couldn't run the ball. There's very few things he could do. I mean, he had an offensive line that gave up 43 sacks. So, yeah, the success starts and stops with the offensive line for me.
All right.
Well,
so
and to piggyback what Justin just said about the offensive line, we were 74th in the country in running the football. 74th in the country, 10th in the SEC. That's not good. And we were 121 at protecting Bryce in the country. 121 out of 130. That's where we ranked. I think it was second to last in the SEC in protecting Bryce Young. That's got to be better. And I think that's why you saw Nick Saban go find him an offensive line coach and kind of a technician. Doug Marone's kind of known as an NFL guy, but it seems like Eric Wolford. I mean, everybody we talked to, we interviewed Kendall Randolph back in July, and he just said it's different. It's a different style. It's a different technique. And
I don't know why we got away from it anyway for the other stuff we've been doing the past few years. So we're going to be looking at like running back by committee here, or is Gibbs what are we going to be doing at running back? JT?
Dude, I have no idea because we were running back by committee last year until two guys went down, and I thought they were doing very well. So that hurt a lot. I still think you can kind of do that. I mean, You know, and Roydell Williams and who's the other one? I can't remember
Jace
now.
McClellan.
Jace McClellan. Those two dudes can ball, and they were pass options out of the backfield. That was the change up from Brian Robinson. So I would imagine that those two guys still get work in a game. Is it like how Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson were switching at the end? I don't know if it'll be that much, but Jahmyr Gibbs I don't think is going to get every snap.
Well, so you guys have, or at least Ryan, you've probably seen him at practice. Help it, because I hadn't actually physically seen him. Have you really seen him?
Saban's got us blocked out, man. He didn't even let us go to practice. I mean, he's got us like, listen, because you know what they told us? Because we asked about this, and we're like, well, why can't we go to practice? And they pretty much said, we're not letting our hype train leave the station, so that we're not allowed to go to practice at all. Like we used to get stretching.
Yeah.
And
we lost his audio with the he got a notification.
He gone, bye-bye.
Is he back?
His video's back, but his audio's not back.
That's what you get for using a CB radio in Boaz.
Okay. I don't know if he can hear us. We can't hear you. We can see you.
Ham radio.
The funny thing is, I'm over here making all these country jokes, but yet I'm in Mississippi right now. So
right.
Yeah, I heard y'all just got electricity down there. That's
we did.
Right. How do you help him get his sound back on?
I'm going to let me see if I can refresh his.
So while he's doing that, Justin, and he's working on that stuff behind the scenes. So let's flip over to the other side a little bit, to the defense. You know, a lot of comparisons about, yeah, and I'm going to say I'm really, really excited about this defense. I was talking about this. I just feel like there's so much. The front 6, 7 are good. I feel like the secondary is going to be stronger. I think this could be one of the best defenses ever. Am I too far ahead of myself with thinking that way?
You know, I've been going back and forth with this ever since you presented this idea to me. And, you know, when talking about being the best ever, let's face it, every defense is graded against 2 teams in Alabama history. 1992, where y'all held opponents to 9.2 points per game, and 2011, where they held folks to 8.8 points per game. And I think you could probably look at the 78 and 79 team as well. My question to you, being that you played with these guys, who would you swap out on this current team with the guys on your team? Immediately, I got to take you and Langham off the table. I don't see anybody in that secondary right now.
Wait, can I add a defense that I think you're forgetting here?
69?
No, 16.
Yeah, 2016, they were at 7 points a game, something like that. 7 point something. Is that right?
Yeah, number 1 in scoring, number 1 in rushing, number 1 in total. Number 2 defense allowed over 1 point per game. I mean, and they scored. They were scoring on defense.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm throwing, obviously, you know, it's great to be talked about as 30 years ago that we're still talking about as one of the best defenses in Alabama history anyway. And I know there's other ones across the country, but you know, when you try to look at these variables of what that really looks like with the involvement of football, how, you know, teams are scoring more points, throwing the ball more, you know, trying to stop offenses is pretty hard to do in this day and age.
Tell me about it.
Or at least I should say keeping them from getting yardage is hard. I don't know if it's any harder to keep them out of the end zone, because once the field kind of shrinks down, you know, you can kind of keep them out of the end zone. But just as far as pure yardage, you see a lot of teams that have a whole lot of yards racked up on them. So is it relative when you're talking about, hey, first and something, second and something? I really don't know how you compare those kind of things other than the new age. When I hear someone say in 2016 you hold someone to 7 points, I'm like, that's pretty amazing. What did Georgia do last year? What were they giving up?
What, 6 points a game until they played Alabama?
Yeah, I mean
I'll find out. Keep going.
it's just crazy. But then I also look on the other side. I'm walking down the hallway, coming over here. I'm like, yeah, but we didn't play a whole lot of Austin Pease and whatever. Utah State and
Utah State.
other thing. Yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of that either, which kind of put you on a curve a little bit. So I'm just wondering, man, are y'all excited about the defense as much as I am, regardless if they're the best or not? Is this really going to be one of those years where this is old Alabama style football? Sounds like we got a chance to run the ball on offense, and we got a chance to play some hellified defense, which I like. Ryan, am I missing any of that? We got any sound back on Ryan yet?
Yeah, we
yet?
do. He's
I
here.
think he's back.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
So when you look at this defensive side of football, and I think did I lose me again?
Nope, you're good.
No,
Keep going.
You're loud and clear,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, I had an echo, so I was trying to adjust there. So, but we look at this defensive side of the football. I think you got to start with the secondary. I know when you look at Will Anderson, but I think everything's going to work together with that secondary. And I think when you look at defensive line, the depth, Henry To'oTo'o, coming in, I think it says everything about him to come back and say, well, the reason I'm coming back is to win a national title and reestablish that. He goes, I came to Tuscaloosa to win a national title. But the secondary to me is going to be the strength. You've got Jordan Battle coming back. You've got DeMarco Helms. And the names just keep going on. I know today Coach Saban told us that Eli Ricks has been a little bit banged up coming out of the scrimmage. He has not practiced since last Saturday. He's having a hard time kind of grasping everything on the defensive side of the football. But you go to, guys like Brian Branch, Malachi Moore, who had a, freshman All-American type season. He took a sophomore slump. He had a little bit of injury, had a back problem last year. I think he's got that worked out. I think Malachi Moore is going to be a guy that is they'll find a role for this. Then you look at the corners. And if you can put 2 of your corners, and I think they've really got probably 3, Kyrie Jackson, when you look at Eli Ricks is projected as a first rounder next year, and you look at all the potential coming out of LSU. Then you go to Kool-Aid McKinstry, another freshman All-American last year. And then when a name that we haven't heard a lot about is Terrion Arnold, that Coach Saban talked about how he was able to have a scrimmage. So, I mean, guys, I went through 7 defensive backs. So the competition there is going to be off the charts.
Oh, we lost him again.
We lost him again.
Mm-hmm. So how do you guys feel about that, though? When's the last time we heard that the secondary was a strength?
It's been a good while.
Since Minka.
Since Minka.
Since we had Minka and Eddie, and was Minka, Eddie Jackson, I'm trying to think of the court, Marlon Humphrey and Levi Wallace. Was that the 4?
Wallace
in 2016.
No, Wallace
because Anthony Everett was there too, but Levi Wallace was the walk on that he played in a national. He started in a national championship game.
The 2017 team. He started. I think that was that Everett's first year really starting.
I'm not sure. Ryan might know.
But so, what do you guys think about that, though? I'm listening to Ryan says he thinks it's secondary. Do you guys have the same opinions? With those guys up front, you feel like there's someone.
I think the secondary is easily the one of the top strengths. I think if Malachi Moore is injury free, he automatically jumps to the top of the Thorpe Award watch list. I mean, he's that special. We saw what he did as a freshman. I mean, a lot of people were comparing him to you, George. The guy has got it. Now, if he's healthy, he's easily the best at his position in the country. Brian Branch, man, I love the kid because he can thump. And nobody going to get away from him. And if you square up against him, you're going to lose every time. Kyrie Jackson is very special. I think that he's going to be a baller. Yeah, the secondary is just loaded. Jordan Battle, easily the best player at his position in the country right now. Defensive line, that's where I have my question marks right now. Is this going to be the year that DJ Dale finally lives up to the self-proclaimed being Deron Payne 2.0? Is it going to be Tim Smith? We haven't had anybody this solid at that nose position since Quinnen Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm hearing in practice right now, if DJ Dale and Tim Smith don't do something, Jamil Burrows and Jaheim Otis, the freshman, might be taking that spot. You go to a press conference with one name that Coach Saban mentions every day, Jaheim Otis. He's making Will Anderson stop what he's doing and just watching him work. This kid's got it right now, man. And the the work ethic. The kid went from weighing 416 to 343. He was that determined to get himself together and make himself better. I mean, good Lord, the work ethic alone tells you something. But I think Byron Young is going to be a great player up there. It's just the guys that are going to be next to him. Are they going to produce?
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say, I know JT put a comment on the screen that someone was making a comment about the 1961 team only giving up 25 points for the whole season.
Back when the forward pass wasn't a thing.
Wasn't a thing. So, did you guys ever see that little show? I don't know if you guys ever caught it. It's on ESPN. It's called College
100 college great or 100 college greatest. Man, I've been trying to record that all the time, and it's a pretty good show. They got some pretty good conversation.
Really good. And they had the one about the involvement of the football game and the running. Some of the rules I didn't even know that you couldn't, throw or whatever it was, all this kind of stuff. And it was really cool when they were talking about defenses, and the things, just to smash mouth football, that it was easier to play defense as well because wasn't nobody throwing the ball. You had 11 guys up on the line of scrimmage basically. And
yeah, I mean it was rugby. I don't know if it's true, but at least what they told us at Harvard was that the forward pass, I can't remember which president basically mandated it, was saying like, look, you either need to make the field wider, or they told them to make the field wider, and Harvard was like, we have a reinforced concrete field. We can't make the field wider. So the president said, well, then you should be able to throw the ball forward.
That is true.
So they did.
I did see that. That was on the show, and they did talk about that they made it a law that you had to do it because people were getting killed, basically, literally killed underneath the pile because it was just head to head, and the little bit of helmet they thought they had wasn't doing anything at all. So I don't know. I'm excited about this defense, and what it brings. I'm kind of glad to hear you guys talk about the secondary a lot. I mean, I don't know. I'm just feeling good about it. So y'all need to go ahead and tell me now. Am I being too overconfident? I'm not looking past Utah State. I'm looking at Texas though, because I'm out here in Texas and I'm having to deal with all these Longhorn fans.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know if there's a preliminary line out on that game.
I'll find it.
But do we destroy these dudes, or Sark got something up his sleeve that he think he can slow us down? Ryan, while we still got your volume, what do you think? Is this a game they don't want to play? Texas, I'm talking about.
Oh, we don't have his audio.
We don't have his audio.
No. Justin?
I think one of the biggest negatives is just the temperature alone. 11 o'clock, 110 degrees. Good Lord. But, yeah, I'm sure that Sark's got a couple of things up his sleeve to kind of throw us off and, and make things interesting for the first half. But I just think, and I'm not being arrogant, I'm just looking at the whole picture. The offensive line is one of the worst spots for Texas right now. And that's not a spot that you want to be struggling in against Alabama. Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, another guy that people are starting to talk more about. And if that defensive line becomes what we think it can be, especially if DJ Dale or Jahmyr Otis even, or Justin Boybe start really playing up to potential, Lord, say a prayer right now, because that quarterback might be meeting Jesus at the end of the game.
Are they starting Ewers or whatever their name is? Are they
They
starting?
have not announced a starter yet. Yeah, from the latest I've heard, they have not announced a starter yet.
Yeah, it could still be Hudson Card, who's the guy who started last year.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So, Ryan, do we have?
I hope. Do you have?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So Texas 7.5 under right now. That's a early line. Brown from Austin a couple of days ago. What are fair expectations
Hey, you're going in and out.
Yeah, it's like he's talking to a drive-through.
It does sound like a McDonald's drive-through.
I was going to go with well, Sonic is better than that, I guess.
How about this? Is this any better?
I don't think so. It sounds like not a great connection.
Yeah, you're just in a bad spot. It's all right, man. We're good. We're gonna have you back on here anyway.
But the only way that I see this turning south is if Alabama does something to beat themselves. As long as we play our game and don't give them any gimmies, it should be a runaway in the second half.
Well, I hope so. And I am going to be there.
Especially for your sake.
I'm worried about 11 o'clock game. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff on here. So we are going to have
sound wave
on that that week. Go ahead and say we are scheduled to have Jonathan Scott, who's offensive lineman for Texas, to be on the show, and Jermichael Finley to be on the show as well, who's tight end for Texas. So he and I have already bet that we have to swap jerseys, that if Texas wins, I'd have to wear a Texas jersey for a day, post it, that kind of thing, and vice versa. He'd have to put on some Alabama stuff. So I don't know. It'll be good to talk to them that Wednesday before the game as well. Okay, well, I don't know how that's all going to turn out with Texas. I just hope we beat them. So last thing that we need to cover, I guess, before we maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2 things. Nick Saban talking about this retirement, anything to it, or he just telling people to leave me alone, get off my back, and
I think essentially he's just saying leave me alone, because let's be realistic right now. Is he slowing down? Is he showing any signs of wear? No, he's not. He still has a lot to contribute to the game. And plus, I don't think Miss Terry is ready for him to retire. I don't think he knows what he would do if he were to retire right now. But he's still the top of his game. He's still competing for national titles at his age. If we're not in the national title hunt, we're right up there with everybody else if we're not winning them. So I don't think he's going to slow down at all. The only time I think he's going to start to step away is if he sees that he can't contribute anymore. I don't know what NIL and all the craziness with the transfer portal is going to look like 2, 3, 4 years from now. Will that be something that he just says, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with this. It's time for me to step aside. But in the immediate future, I don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah. Ryan, do you see that? Is the NIL and the transfer portal going to run him out because it makes football so different?
No, that was a resounding no from him.
I miss him more so dealing with the attitudes.
Yes, a resounding no. Well, I don't think he's going to go anywhere either. I just don't know why people keep harping on it and all this kind of stuff, because he's moving around fine. It doesn't look like
he had a very interesting quote, right, where he was saying, like, again, retire and do what? And he was talking about, a lot of people retire and they want to take trips and go over to Europe and go to Mexico and do all those things that he was saying. I can do that now and still coach. So I think in his mind, he's got to find something that will eat up the same amount of time that coaching Alabama does. And I don't know that there is anything.
All right. So, and Ryan, if we can't hear you, you might have to try to send this to us or whatever. But I'm curious to see regular season how many? What's their record? What's Bama's record for regular season? Yeah, you might want to look at the schedule.
Let me bring it up just so the audience knows.
Undefeated, you're saying, Ryan? You're saying?
Oh wow, love it.
Yeah, so they've got Utah
Not
State.
worried about Texas A&M or
Yeah, they got
Auburn.
Utah State, Texas, ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe, Vanderbilt,
3-0,
Arkansas.
5-0. Was Arkansas that good or not?
Well, Arkansas gave us almost everything we could handle last year.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but I think we have a different
And it's at Arkansas.
mindset. It's going to be a tough game, but this is a different squad, man.
Well,
Right.
the thing they need to prove to me is that they can play on the road. That was their problem
Yeah,
last year. It
yeah.
wasn't that it was, I don't know if it's noise or just being in a different environment. Like playing on the road was, you were getting a different Alabama team then. So then you get A&M at home. Then you have to go to Knoxville to play Tennessee. Then you come back for Mississippi State. Then you go to LSU, to Ole Miss. Then you get Austin Peay, and then at home versus Auburn.
So what's the trap game then? I know you're saying no, but what is Arkansas the trap game? Is Tennessee the trap game?
Jeez.
A&M the trap game.
I could say one of two teams right now.
Can you hear
Tennessee.
Ryan? I can't hear him. I see him, but I can't hear him.
I can say Tennessee can be a trap game,
No, he said,
but Ole Miss definitely, just because by the time we get to them, we've already run through that gauntlet. We're beat up, we're bruised, we're struggling, to stay healthy, and then we're going to Oxford. And if a lot of people don't know, that's a hard place to play. And we don't know what kind of team Ole Miss is going to be. If Jackson Dart ends up being the quarterback that he's projected to be, and then I forgot the running back's name they got from TCU,
Zach Evans.
Zach Evans. If they're balling, it could be an interesting game in Oxford.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is the trap game. There's another podcast that I listen to that would call this a letdown look ahead game, meaning you've got to play LSU, one of your biggest rivals, and depending on how that game goes, the body blow theory of you just had a potentially very emotional win, and then you have another road tilt against Ole Miss. And then the game after that is Austin Peay, where you're kind of like, all right, we're just trying to get to Austin Peay so we can coast before we have Auburn, who gave it to us last year. So I think the trap game is Mississippi here, and it could also be Tennessee, considering that you're going to have so much hype around the A&M game, which also might be another emotional win, and then you have to go play at Rocky Top.
And in Tennessee, I think it's going to be a dark horse in the East right now. They're actually a pretty good team. Hendon Hooker is back, more confident. He's got some weapons, and Josh Heupel is doing some good things. So I would not be a bit surprised if they really make some noise in the East. Roman Harper and his crew predicted them to go 10-2 this year.
JT, what is the strength of schedule? The strength of schedule is? Didn't we talk about that before?
We did. There was a way that we did it. There's a few people that do strength of schedule by like what the ratings, what their records were last year. So I'm going to just try to kind of figure out. Let's see if I click on this resume tab. Oh, nobody has strength of schedule ratings because
this will be the last thing.
So remaining strength of schedule, according to ESPN, Alabama ranks at 7th toughest schedule.
Man, y'all saying we're going undefeated.
So just if you'd like to hear the top 10 of strength of schedule according to ESPN as of right now, toughest schedule in the country is Auburn, followed by number 2 Mississippi State, then 3 is Vanderbilt, 4 is Georgia Tech, 5 is Tennessee, 6 Texas A&M, 7 Alabama, 8 South Carolina, 9 Indiana, 10 LSU.
Did you name anybody in the ACC? Or
I did.
Big
I
12?
named Georgia Tech. Georgia
Oh,
Tech
yeah.
has the fourth hardest schedule.
Hey, I got
Big
some breaking
12?
news, guys.
What's
Big
up?
12?
If you are following the recruiting scene, heavily sought after edge guy Keon Keeley has decommitted
Oh, he
from Notre
did.
Dame.
Nice.
He just tweeted it out, and
After he accidentally tweeted out his commitment video like 2 weeks ago.
if you have been following social media, several of our guys, Richard Young and a few of the other guys have been recruiting him heavily. And from what I understand, he may be headed to Tuscaloosa.
Well, according to his Twitter, he will be, because that was the commitment video that he accidentally tweeted, was him committing to Alabama, and he quickly deleted it.
Man,
we actually have flipped a guy from Ohio State tight end a couple weeks ago, did the same exact thing. He accidentally released his commitment video before he made the announcement.
Okay, y'all. Well, look, let's wrap this thing up, man. We've been here. Ryan, sorry we lost your audio there for a little while. We appreciate your commitment for being here, sitting outside in your rocking chair out. your makeshift thing.
It might be a station wagon.
Back. Out there in your boat. But we do appreciate you. Spend a little bit of time away from your family, come and hang out with us. Justin, same to you, man. Thanks for coming out and hanging with us. You guys can find Ryan C. Fowler. Is there a number on Twitter?
Nope.
It's just Ryan C. Fowler on Twitter. Listen to him at 100.9.
You can also find that on the internet. Just because you're not in Alabama doesn't mean, or not in Boaz or wherever the hell he broadcasts from. They do have internet there. I've listened to the show before on the radio Tide 109.
The radio station has those little tinfoil things on their antenna, so you can hear them.
He's at Love's Truck Stop.
That's right. Well, as JT said, they start the show with Breaker 19. Come in. Anyway, I play too much. Then Justin Riley, make sure you guys listen to his show, the Bama Standards, on Tuesday nights, right? At 6 Central, 7 Eastern. I got that right?
You got it right, on Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. We also have our channel as well that we just started, the Bama Standard YouTube channel. Check that out. Got a lot of clips and replays too, especially a lot of recruiting news. So those of y'all who are diehard recruiting people, check it out. And next week, Brody Kroll is going to be our guest. So y'all definitely want to check that out.
Nice.
Last night's show, we had Tony Dixon on there, Georgia's former teammate at Dallas for that 1 year. Hell of a safety at Alabama. So definitely go back and watch that.
Well, you need to send me the clip or whatever you said it was.
Yeah, I emailed it to JT. I was hoping he'd get it in time to show you and possibly have it on
Oh,
the show.
you sent it via email. Okay. No, I just had to check my email. That's on me. My bad.
Well, y'all make sure y'all keep up with JT too. He doesn't really tweet or talk about it or anything as much, but he's a defensive coordinator at John Paul II High School now, running the defense. So in a couple of weeks, he'll have his first real test, I guess, in a live game. He's working on the scrimmages, but they'll play Cistercian at Cistercian for the first game in a couple of weeks. And he always needs to be lifted up because he's got two little young kids over there he's dealing with while trying to coach. And he gave me the one comment, fellas. He said, "Man, I'm tired." He was on that Saturday. He had to break down film. He got to go to practice. Then he got to deal with the kids. And I'm like, "Yeah, buddy." Welcome aboard. Check us out next week as well. We do have Antonio Langham and Derek Lassick going to be on the show next week, and it's just going to be real talk about all this stuff. NILs, we're all talking about plans and all this, but I think we just need to hear from some of these players and really say, "Hey, man, what the heck is going on? And are we really okay with this stuff or not?" I think we're always trying to be nice about transfer portals and NILs and all this kind of stuff. And these guys right here, they tend not to bite their tongue too much with some of this stuff. So
here's something that I think you need to do.
Mhm.
You should also try to find some recent players and their opinions too, because all the people that we have on here are all your age. Talking about
they want to get it.
Wow, he
you know,
called
like-
you old,
We talk
George.
to old school. We already know everybody wants it. It's a no brainer for the new kid. Who is
You
going to
want
say
somebody-
no? I don't want this to happen. That would be.
You want
dumb.
somebody newer? Get Bo
Um,
Scarborough in here. He's got a strong opinion on it.
But
Oh, Bo was
he's still old.
10
school.
years ago.
He didn't get it, but I also need to talk to them about because they've both been in the National Football League too, and there's a lot of shenanigans
Yeah.
going on in the National Football League with this free agency and the money and how they're you're holding out. What are you doing? Are you
Holding
pinning
in
teams?
now.
Huh?
I said holding in now.
Yeah. Yes. So rules are changing, just evolving. I just want to hear from these guys, and we can get some new guys on here. I think that's a good deal to hear from both folks. But it's been a great one. We do appreciate it. Make sure you give all of us follows. Tune in to everybody's stuff. You got some great minds here, some great knowledge going across the board, and we'll definitely want to see all of you guys next week on all of our shows. So with that, JT, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. So I think all of us are probably about ready for a cold one, whether it's a Diet Coke, some water, Miller Lite, Bud Light, something. And I need to get out of this office so I can go ahead and get home as well. So deuces to you guys. Appreciate it. See y'all next week.